Okie dokie. So, movie lovers and cinephiles around the world, we are back again, and this is Andy Takes on Godzilla versus King Kong. It is the fight that you did not know that you have been waiting for. Yes. So, if you like movies where there's a well developed plot, even partially developed characters, and maybe a bigger philosophical point that the filmmakers are trying to make, this is not that kind of movie. But if you're here to see a giga gorilla go up against a giant lizard and knock that puppy out, you're in the right place. But of course, I'm going to tell you all about that because, as you know, I'm here about the movie. So here's the story. In the gold corner, weighing in at something truly tremendous and coming straight and hailing out of Skull Island, it's none other than King Kong. Ow! Does he do that every movie? Why? How does he not have internal bleeding? And in the blue corner, coming in from a body of water and or a nuclear plant near you, it's none other than Godzilla, or Godzilla, as we call him in Japan. In a match that sounds like it was conceived in the mind of Don King on drugs. It's Godzilla versus King Kong in Hong Kong with Cisco and the sing-along singing thong song. That last one was a joke, I just ran out of rhymes. So as you may have guessed from the title of the movie, Godzilla and King Kong are going to fight. So the job of this movie really is just to set up how does that fight happen. So it picks up after the events of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, where Godzilla has transitioned from being a part-time savior to being a full-time bully. You see, his whole motivation in this movie, no Titan should have any power level even remotely close to his. Anytime that a Titan comes up in his, I guess, Titan sense, it tingles and it causes him to go after that. So this results in the two attacks that then are the premise of the movie. The first one is an attack on the premises of a company called Apex, like Apex Predator. Yeah, it's that subtle. The second attack is on King Kong, who was conspicuously absent when all the other Titans were bowing and paying homage to Godzilla. In fact, when we meet Kong this time around, he seems to be on a vacation, on an island getaway, because he's on his exotic island and the sun is shining and the pterodactyls are singing sweetly in the trees, as pterodactyls are wont to do. He's scratching his bum, he's taking showers, he's meeting girls. Look, life is good. And then he goes full Katniss Everdeen on what turns out to be a dome that is encapsulating him, because the conventional wisdom now is that if he leaves this dome, Godzilla is going to come for him. So, look, the only characters that matter in this movie are King Kong and Godzilla, all right? But being that they're animals and they can't speak, and for that reason only, we have humans in this movie. And really, they are just devices there to drive the plot forward. But we'll run through them very briefly. We've got the girl about whose physical safety nobody cares. And yet, she's actual magic. How do I know this? Because she teaches King Kong sign language. Yeah, that's a thing in this movie.
Did the monkey just talk?
She teaches King Kong sign language. She knows when his heart rate is going down, and she can sense the coming of Godzilla. Pure magic. And the lady who's her guardian is known as the Kong Whisperer. And she's there because she's in charge of all things that have to do with King Kong. Not to be outdone, there is also a male counterpart to her who's working for Apex, the other organization. Now, he's a part-time doctor, part-time, apparently, fighter pilot. We have Millie Bobby Brown. Her mission in this movie is to defend Godzilla at all costs.
Godzilla saved us. You were there with Mom. You saw it. How could you doubt him?
The fact that he's amassing an impressive body count of collateral and probably intentional damage is not a factor for her. Godzilla is her dude.
But it's like she's not listening. It's like she's playing at picking Pokemon, pointing a finger at me and saying, Godzilla, I choose you.
And to round up our crew of intrepid explorers, we have the podcaster, a staple in disaster movies nowadays, but the podcaster who has suspicions of the Apex organization because their sinister plot is to save the world from Godzilla. But please note, nothing that they do has any bearing on the actual plot of the film. So it's like watching two movies, and that maybe was one of the issues with Godzilla versus King Kong, was there's differences in tone. But again, this is not the type of movie that you go to for an in-depth exploration of the human or animal condition, right? But you do need plot to move the story forward. So the plot of this movie is that they need to get King Kong to lead an expedition into the Hollow Earth. The Hollow Earth is the place from which all monsters and titans come. He has to lead this expedition. Apex wants him to lead this, and they hire Dr. Handsome to come and get Dr. Beautiful so that they can go together with Kong. The other quest, which I've already alluded to, that's driving this, is it driving the story forward? It's driving parallel to the story. It's driving slightly behind the story. It's on the same highway as the story, is where Millie Bobby Brown's character and the crew that she's rolling with are trying to prove that Godzilla didn't randomly attack Apex, and yet people are still dead. I mean, honestly, don't think about it too much. They didn't. Given that King Kong is, well, truly humongous, the difficulty arises in the fact that they need to move him to the entrance to the Hollow Earth that they have already discovered in Antarctica. So they decide that they're going to move him by ocean. You know, the place where Godzilla lives. At any rate, Godzilla notices, as one does, and the first of the brawls ensues. Now, I've got to say that the fight choreography and the action sequences top notch, right? Because you've got the technology is finally there, the 3D, the CGI, it's there and it supports what they're doing here. And the fight was actually quite fun to watch. When I review movies, normally I have to take them through a second screening so that I can look out for the gems. And I really was not expecting to enjoy my second watching of the fights, especially as much as I did, but I did. So after this fight, let's call it round one, ends, they decide that they're going to airlift King Kong, which really should have been plan A, if you ask me. And they're going to take him to the entrance to Hollow Earth. They get there and he leads the expedition. He does actually take us through the belly of the Earth. And I've got to say, at this point, the cinematography does get a bit beautiful. It was reminiscent to me of when I watched Thor, the first Thor, and we were taken to Asgard for the first time. There was that otherworldly feeling, yes. Even the whole wormhole effect as they go into the Hollow Earth was quite nice to watch. So it's at this point that we discover that Apex has only wanted to lead this expedition because they have discovered that there's a power source somewhere in the subterraneous Earth that they can use to power up their own mechanical Godzilla, which is going to be the big bad of this movie. Because you know the formula, whenever the hero and the hero fight one another, before the movie ends, they're going to team up and go up against the new big bad. When they're testing Mechagodzilla, this sets off Godzilla's Titan sense, I guess, and then he makes his way back to Hong Kong, where they now are. And because Godzilla has got an ego the size of Godzilla, he actually stops right before getting to this battle so that he can challenge King Kong, who's now set off the energy within the subterraneous Earth. So does it make a whole lot of sense? Look, what is sense when the world has got another world within it, where there's no sun but there's sunlight, where there are cool breezes despite the fact that you are right next to the volcanic core of the Earth, where Godzilla chuckles and King Kong does that Mel Gibson shoulder dislocation pop trick from Lethal Weapon. Look, let them fight. But seriously, if you want to be nitpicky about the plot holes, there's plenty to choose from. Like, for example, where is the security in this multi-billion-dollar facility? And I'm not even talking about armed guards. I'm talking about, I don't know, locked doors. And for my personal information, is there like a Queen Kong in the subterraneous Earth? Because like when Baby Girl told King Kong that there might be his family down there, his excitement showed that my dude's pretty lonely. Or he could just beat up monsters and drink from their skulls. That's, a strong option B. The key to watching this movie is managing your expectations before you walk into the cinema. Follow me for more plot recipes. Because the human characters have no bearing on the plot except to get the Titans to where they need to be so they can have their fight, they're really inconsequential. Go in there and expect a clash of the Titans, and you'll get that. In fact, my take is that monster movies are their own very specific subgenre of movie, right? And in this particular instance, I felt like it was like if National Geographic and the WWE had a baby, this is what would come of it, right? This would be their brainchild. I forgot. They did their job. They delivered on the promise. Godzilla and King Kong did in fact fight. The key thing when you go in there is to look at your cinema screen and say,
let them fight.
Let them fight. This movie gets 3 stars out of a possible 5 stars from me. But that was it for Andy Takes on Godzilla versus King Kong. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Let me know what other movies you'd like to see me review. Do subscribe to the channel, like it, share with your friends, and let's keep the conversation going. Those were my takeouts from that movie, Godzilla versus King Kong, and now I am taking off. I will see you next time.